Well, Mr. Gaddy, how are you this morning?
I'm fine.
Well, good. Well, I have a special treat and experience with the program that you head up with the church, and my husband absolutely loves this. And so now that I'm going to get rid of a lot of my obligations this year, I'll be back to help you. But tell us about the Weekend Food for Children project.
All right. I think to do that, I need to go back and start at the beginning of when First Christian Church became part of the Weekend Food for Kids program. Back in 2012, 2013 era, this church was kind of reevaluating itself to find outreach activities on the local basis more than just sending a check to another foundation downstate or somewhere like that. And we were going through some congregational meetings and kind of reevaluating, what we're doing and how we can do it better. And at that time, I was chair of the outreach committee and was asked to, find a project that, met the direction that we wanted to go into, where there would be more hands-on opportunities for members of the church. And I found a program called Weekend Food for Kids. And this was a program that was started and more spearheaded by Neighbors Feeding Neighbors. And this is a nonprofit of the food pantries in the area. They were providing food, for families as, according to a schedule by each food pantry had. But in the process, they discovered that a lot of school kids' needs weren't being met over the weekends because these families just weren't able to provide food over the weekends. And they provided a statistic that a kid that doesn't have food over the weekend does not really gain his or her ability to properly study and function in school until like Tuesday afternoon the following week.
Wow.
So that was, that more or less cemented what we needed to get involved in, and that's taking care of the kids. We were assigned Bronner Elementary, and Neighbors Feeding Neighbors tried to pick a school close to the church to make it for convenience purposes. So that's where we became involved with Bronner, and I think we started providing food in March of 2013. And it's kind of a transient school, and they have a lot of ins and outs kids. And so in the years we've had between 125, kind of the most kids to feed per week, to right now where we're feeding over 200 kids a week.
Wow.
And Bronner, the population has grown some, but I think the current conditions that we're in of the inflation and things like that have probably put more families into the need of needing weekend food for their kids. And so we're feeding over 200 kids a weekend right at this time, and that amounts to over 800 meals a month for a weekly basis. So we visited with other sponsors in the program and came up with what we would consider to be satisfactory for the kids to take home with them every weekend. And the main thing is it had to be something the kids could do on their own, because adults aren't always around. So based on what other sponsors used and what we decided to use, we came up with what we call our menu. And we have two types of meals, what we call a regular meal then if there's a holiday weekend, we have a holiday meal. And to show you what we have, the regular meals, we send 2 drinks, a Chef Boyardee microwavable meal, a fruit package, viney sausage, 2 instant oatmeal packets, and then we have some fruity snacks and granola bars and things like that. There's a total of 8 items that go in what we call our regular meals. If we're having a holiday come up, we add to that. In addition to these items, we put in a mac and cheese and crackers, another oatmeal, Nutri-Grain bars, and some more bars and fruity snacks. There again, what the kids can, prepare on their own. And we take the meals over a week's worth at a time and leave them at Bronner, and they pass them out and take them to the kids.
Now, to gather all of this food, that is a huge commitment on your part. And to know how much and where people can bring it, can you tell us more about that side of it?
Well, we buy our food from Sam's. They have these items, and back during the pandemic, it was kind of tough getting them, but it's kind of back to where they're available. So we order, we pick up what was needed, and then we assemble the meals or sack them the last Wednesday of every month, and I think everybody's been aware of that. So,
well, but there's a lot more people that might not be aware of it, right? But that's one of Bruce's favorite things to do.
Well, we do it the last Wednesday of every month, and we do a month's worth of meals for the kids.
Is that around 4:00 in the afternoon?
At 4:00 in the gym, okay. We set up tables, and we encourage some people to come a little earlier than that to help us get the tables out and get the food on the tables. It takes a good while to set up for that much
I can imagine.
food to pass out. And then we just go through a process of sacking the meals, and then we have totes we put them in. We take them back and forth to the schools with.
If you wanted to donate to this, is it better to donate a cash donation, or is it better to find out and order and have it shipped here? What's the best way to help?
Well, I would answer that in 2 ways. We'd always take food, but we like to try to see that the kids all get the same things in their sack. They do talk amongst themselves. And so we've found that trying to provide the same food is the best way to handle it.
So centralized, letting one person basically do the ordering.
Yeah,
so you have all the
if they wanted to donate money, that way we could make sure all the kids get the same items in their meal. And it's not a have-to thing, but I know the kids like it better, and it makes it easier in the sacking process if you just have all the same items instead of having to decide what.
Yeah, so they don't get jealous.
It's because once we start, I don't know, we have maybe up to 25 people there at the most, and it gets pretty hectic. So
yeah, but you've got that assembly line down to a fine art.
Yeah, we've had years of practice.
Yes, you have. Well, tell me a little bit more. Now, you and your wife both are real dedicated to this.
Yeah,
project.
it's a team effort. We both work in it, and it's a time-consuming deal. But
I was just wondering. I thought, how many hours a month do you dedicate to this?
I don't know. I think the future's in the kids, and so I'm willing to do whatever it takes to.
So there's your reward.
There's a reward, and I would give a couple examples. You mentioned rewards of the kids, and what makes us know they appreciate what we do. And back before pandemic hit, 2 different years, we had classes from Bronner come over and sack a week's worth of meals. It was important to them. And I know that kids were doing it. Some of them were ones receiving the meals. We have absolutely no idea who gets them, and we don't care. But I just feel certain that some of the kids that receive the meals were there each time helping sack the meals. And there was one time, there was a little boy. He'd only been in the U.S. for 10 days. And he was there sacking. He didn't understand English, but he had a friend that was explaining everything that they did. So they appreciate it. And I guess the thing that stands out most in my mind is that one year they had a arts and crafts fair at Bronner. And it was a learning process for the kids to make an item and then sell it. And they had to prepare a budget and a business plan. It was a learning experience for the kids. They had no money to buy what was needed to prepare these items, but they helped, with help with, I'm sure, of their teachers. They prepared a business plan, and they bought the items and assembled them, and then they had set up and sold them every day, but they had to do it before school started. They couldn't interrupt school. And so members of the First Christian Church went over there, and we have a box full of the goodies still at our house, but those items probably sold from a quarter to 75 cents each. But the big part of it to me is that at the end, the kids got to decide what they did with the money. And they didn't raise a whole lot, but when you sell them for those prices, but they allocated $800 to our program, and that was huge.
Oh my gosh,
so,
Ray.
If you ever wonder if it's all worth it, that tells you that it is making a difference for these kids, and that's the most important thing.
What a huge reward. I'm just, my eyelashes are going to float off, right? That is so neat. Now, I would have never known this, and you're just such a wealth of information. What a great discipleship you have going. This is amazing. Well, it's the more I talk to people, and I love the fact that your volunteers haven't waned.
Yeah, we couldn't do it.
This church.
We couldn't do it without the church, and we've had people come that aren't members of the church before to help. So,
well, you never know. There might be
that's right.
Another day.
That's right. We'll let anybody help that wants to.
Well, tell me more about you. A little bit more about you.
Like what?
Your family.
Oh yeah, Patsy and I have 4 kids. We call them kids still, but they're all grown. And we have 3 sons and a daughter. 2 of the sons are twin sons. So anybody that's had twins knows what that's like.
Prayerful, very prayerful.
So church has always been strong for us. We did not become disciples until we moved to Granbury, and we decided this church was the best fit for us. We tried them all.
Now, tell me what makes it such a special fit for you.
Tell me what?
What makes this such a special church and special fit for you?
Well, the friendliness of the people. The first day we visited, there was a lady that met us in the parking lot. She's sitting right over there right now. Brought us in, showed us around, and we decided then and there that it was it. And they had a strong men's group, and I've always been
Bruce
part
loves that too.
Of that. And so it's just built from there, and we have been associated with quite a few different positions through the years.
What are some of those?
I was chair of outreach, and we worked with outreach, a lot of years before that, and been involved in the men's program, and Patsy was involved in the women's program for years, and so served on several other committees throughout the years.
Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to get involved here?
Yeah.
That's why I love the kitchen stuff so much. I get to walk around and visit with everybody every Sunday and act like I have a chance to get to know them better. And as Carol said a while ago, it was really fun because she was talking about how much fun it is to hug people when she just has an innate feeling, and she can just tell when somebody needs a hug. And that's what I feel about this whole church community. And I'm so glad that it's so obvious that all of us feel this way.
Yeah.
I've had this same comment with every interview.
Well, it's good to hear.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
We're so blessed to have you and Patsy. I mean, my golly, I can't imagine how many hours you put in on this, but what a treat for this church to have you.
Yeah.
I mean,
We don't count the hours.
But that kind of strength is just immeasurable anyway. And then here again, this is a stewardship presentation, and we just wanted to highlight some of these great programs that we have that people can get involved.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that you're leading one of them.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I'm glad to do it.
Thank you.
Okay.
We appreciate you, Ray.